I've helped over 500,000 people pass their PMP exam, and all 500,000 of them have one thing in common. You see, guys, I've taught over 430,000 students in my Udemy's best-selling course, and over 100,000 copies of my Amazon best-selling book have sold. Now, in this video, I want to tell you what that one thing is. And no, it's not that they are amazing at memorizing a bunch of stuff, or they know the latest agile concept, or they've worked a lot in predictive project management. It's none of that. Every single person that has passed the PMP exam, my students or not, have one thing in common, and that is the ability to dedicate time to passing this test. It's about dedication. Hear me out on this. The PMP has a very large knowledge base. In 2021, it got huge when they added all the agile concept to it. So not only must you know all of these predictive processes, their documents, their inputs, tools, techniques, and output, but you also need to know all the agile ceremonies and all the agile artifacts, and then you need to blend it all together in hybrid project management. Yes, the PMP covers those three things. Now, in order to learn all of this, it's going to take a lot of time, and you have to do a lot of practice exams. In fact, when people ask me the question, hey Andrew, how long does it take to become certified? I tell people, depending on how smart you are, on how fast you can read and how fast you can learn, it's anywhere between 60 hours and 100 hours. What do I mean by that? Well, if you're doing your PMP, you need to do a 35-hour course. So that's 35 hours. You're probably going to spend anywhere from 25 to about 50 hours doing practice exams, revising your notes, reviewing certain topics, learning certain additional things such as the mindset in order to pass. Most of us will finish this exam. If we do 2 hours a day, most of us will finish it between 1 month and 2 months if we study for 2 hours a day. So it takes a lot of time in order to pass this exam. And that's where dedication comes into play. You see, my father always told me one thing. He said, time doesn't make time for you. We are given the same amount of time every day. Guys, I'm not special. God doesn't like me more than, more than he likes you. All right? He doesn't think I'm special. He gave me 24 hours. Probably going to give you 24 hours also. So what we got to do is we got to find ways to allocate time in order, or I should say dedicate time in order to pass your exam. And in this video, I want to give you a few tips on that. So here we go. Number one, how can we dedicate more time? Well, here, I'll tell you guys this. I cannot study in the evening. A lot of people go to work and then come home after working. They probably got children. Like I think a lot of us do have children at home. Maybe we have a spouse we got to deal with. I got to walk the dog too. When I come home, I'm tired. I generally work 10 to 12 hours a day. I want to play with my children, or at least talk with my children, play with the dog, talk to the wife, and so on. I don't have time and the effort needed to study. I never study in the evening. Now, some of you guys may be night owls and function higher in the evenings than I do. Maybe it works for you. Here's what I recommend. Wake up early every day. Don't study an extra hour every night. What I want you guys to do is to wake up an hour earlier. So instead of studying between 9 and 10 and then going to bed at 10 o'clock and waking up at 6, why don't you go to bed at 9, wake up at 5, and then study between 5 and 6? Same thing, right? But now you're studying in the morning. And because you're studying in the morning, it means that you're more, quote unquote, fresh. You're more awake. Why? Because, hey, you know what? You've been sleeping all night. You haven't been working all day. Now, one thing about studying in the morning is that the world is shut off. When I wake up at 5 o'clock to study, which is generally what I do, kids are still asleep. In fact, the dog is still asleep too. Wife is asleep. Anybody that's going to email me is asleep. The world is shut down. There's nothing showing on the TV that I want to watch or nothing because the world is shut down at 5 o'clock. It's just me, the dog too, and my books or my videos to study. So that way I can dedicate more time. Another way we can increase our ability to be dedicated is by having a support system. Now, the best support system you guys can get is a study group. Study groups is when you and a bunch of folks come together and study together. You may watch videos together. You may do practice exams together. You may discuss certain topics with each other. If you are having a hard time being dedicated, maybe because you don't have accountability to anybody else, I highly suggest to join a study group. If you're looking for study groups, check out this free website, skool.com, skool.com/PMP. This is my free community. It's open to anyone. I will never charge you anything. It is absolutely free. Go to skool.com, editor, add URL here, somewhere here. Add the URL here. Join that community, and you guys can form study groups and then interact with each other. Watch videos together. Do practice exams with each other. Hold each other accountable. Sometimes the lack of dedication is because we have no accountability. Now, the last thing here we can do in order to make us more dedicated is to schedule your exam. Here's what I mean. A lot of people complete my course, they finish the application, they submit it, but then they get too scared to schedule the test. In other words, PMI has approved the application, but they haven't scheduled their test. They're scared to schedule their test because when you schedule a test, you got to put a date on it. You see, don't do that. Don't wait to schedule your test. The moment PMI approves the application, go and schedule your exam. Don't schedule it right away. Maybe schedule it for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whenever you think you're going to finish studying. But when you schedule that test, your entire life will change. In other words, you're going to become more dedicated because you're forced to work in order to get it done. Every day you don't study is the closer you are to failing. And you'll see that because when you schedule that exam, that weight comes onto your shoulder and now you have to study. It's kind of like forcing yourself to study. If you don't schedule that test, you're going to wake up in the morning and say, I don't feel like studying today. I'll study more tomorrow. Or you might come home from work. I'm not going to study today. I'll study more next week or something. You keep pushing it off and you'll never take your test. So pre-schedule your exam. All right, those are 3 tips. I'm going to tell you guys, hey, study in the morning, join a study group, and of course, hey, pre-schedule your exam. If these tips are going to help you pass your exam or at least take your exam, give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and if you want to pass your PMP, check out the links below for my books, my videos on my courses, and I'll see you in the next video.